With precious metals like gold and silver seeing a massive surge in interest, our industry is attracting a lot of new buyers. That's fantastic, but unfortunately, it's also attracting a lot of scammers looking to take advantage of that excitement. Today, we're going to arm you with the knowledge you need to avoid that fraud. But not only avoid it, but to recognize the tactics of a scammer like a seasoned pro. Before we dive in, if you find this video helpful, please hit that like and subscribe button. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments about what scams you've seen and what you're doing about it. Because working together as a community, we can fundamentally change the way investors are protected in this market. All right, let's get into it. With all of this excitement I discussed, it's bringing a lot of very dangerous people into the market. And unfortunately, they tend to be targeting the very people who can be affected the most, the elderly and those who are unsophisticated. So as a community, I urge you to join us at Summit Metals and let's expose these companies. I hope you had a chance to see a video I did a few weeks back. And Cooper, if you get a chance, please put that up because it really digs in and actually shows real examples of this type of what I think is dishonest activity that's affecting thousands and thousands of investors in this market. All right, so let's talk about number one. This is the exclusive, trap. These are the ones you see on TV. These are the ones you see where, oh, you can buy gold, and if you buy X amount, we'll give you $10,000 back. Well, let me tell you a little bit about how this industry works. When we sell like an American Eagle or a Buffalo, our profit on that is often less than even 0.5%. It is fundamentally impossible for a business to pass you $10,000 on, say, a $50,000 or $100,000 investment. It simply can't be done. So what they do is they find some coin that no one's ever heard of, a turtle or some whale out of, Australia. And what they do then is they say, oh, this is a, quote, numismatic coin. This is a product that effectively you can't find a comparable to find out what it's actually worth. And what really happens is, say, spot at, this $46, $47, they're selling you that coin of often 75 to 125% more than its real value. The chances of you breaking even mean that product has to often double or more. To me, it's an absolute scam. Not only do you get locked into a product that has virtually no liquidity other than the melt value of the underlying metal, you end up putting these things in your segregated vaults. You build your financial future around it, only to find out when you need it, it's worth virtually half or less of what you actually think it's worth. So be careful. Don't buy these limited coins. Stick to bullion, stick to quality, stick to the things that are liquid all over this great world of ours. Now, number two are these phony storage things. I just read literally yesterday where a company, I believe in New Hampshire, there was a guy who basically set up a Ponzi scheme and took about $100 million from investors. That guy was just sentenced to 65 years in jail. And as great as that is, the really sad part is what that probably means is that there are thousands of investors who lost everything. So while he was taking his vacations to the Caribbean and Europe, buying yachts, boats, and cars, these investors were thinking they had bought the ultimate asset, gold and silver, and that they were safe and secure in their future, only to find out it was a complete scam. So it's really important that your metals are segregated, that they're kept in a quality facility, that it's insured. It's the kind of thing that we do at Summit Metals for our investors increasingly, and it's something that I hope you're doing irrespective of where you're buying your precious metals. When you ask for your product and all of a sudden it takes a really long time to get to you, or what you put in the vault, entirely something different is what comes out, those to me are very significant red flags that you need to be conscious of and act on immediately. All right, let's move now to scam number three. This is the one Oregon was talking about. This is where someone calls you up, in particular the elderly, and they give you this line of, hey, this is the FBI. We've just discovered that your bank account is being compromised. We need you to shift all those assets and buy gold. In fact, we're going to make it really easy for you. We can meet you at a gas station. We can meet you at your house. We just need you to buy these gold bars right now, transfer it into these real physical assets, and then we'll come by and we'll safeguard those for you. We'll protect you from these people who are creating issues with your bank account. Now, we all know this is completely false, but I'm telling you that thousands and thousands of investors are falling for this very literal trap. They're very, very convincing. They can even present fake IDs and all kinds of different ways to truly scare people into acting in ways that is just outright theft. Number 4, counterfeits. Now, I have to tell you that there are many, many ways you can check metal, and I've listed a few here on this slide, whether it's by weight or magnet or size, ultrasound, like we use with XRF, for example, with X-rays, or where we're doing like sound impedance, like all of these different methods can be very effective. And it's happening more and more that bars are showing up, including in assay, that are in fact fake. They're often filled with tungsten, which happens to be right next to gold on the periodic table. So often some of the less sophisticated methods of detecting these types of fraud fail. So it's really important that you buy your metals from quality, trusted, insured dealers, and that those dealers are checking where you buy your products, where they're coming from. Traceability and those types of things are very, very important. So that's number 4. All right, let's talk about number 5. And this is a big one for me, and it's just pure price manipulation. It's when you buy a product and you think you've bought it, and then you find out there's all these additional things. Oh, by the way, we had to add insurance onto your product, or we had to do these, other things that are important, or you responded to a particular ad and, oh, that one happens to be out of stock, but we happen to have this other one, the purple turtle or something like that, some collectible that we can sell you and give you a great price on it. These are the ways you effectively get ripped off. So they're basically doing a little bait and switch. They're bringing you in with an advertisement, indicating that you're getting what you think, like pure bullion, a buffalo or an eagle or a Canadian maple, something like that, when in reality they switch it out for a product that has a far less premium, and often they actually try to charge you more for it by telling you that it's a collectible that's worth more money, kind of like I alluded to in one of the earlier scams. All right, let's move on to now 6 and 7. This is pretty scary. The old layaway thing you see where, you go to Christmas and you buy a product and you put some money down and they'll hold it for you and you have X number of months to kind of pay it off, things like that. Well, here's a news flash. That doesn't happen in our industry for real. I don't know of a single legitimate dealer who takes a down payment on metal. When you buy metal, I hope you're doing it the right way. You're not using debt to do it. You're not doing it out of duress. You're doing it because you're really excited about building your financial future, about creating a lasting future, something you can rely on and know that it's quality, that it's correct, that it's done the right way, that it's in your possession or in a segregated account with a vault you know and trust and can validate and audit. Like, those are the things that are important. These installment plans, either they're going to mark something up so dramatically beyond the price, or you're going to end up making an installment for thin air. Literally, there's nothing there when you actually go to receive the product. Because I can pretty much guarantee you, if you put 15 or 20% down, they're not going to send you a bar or coin. Why would they do that? They would be out, right? So that's not going to happen. So please avoid that. And then you've got some of these other things where they claim, you can buy gold, based on a representation of what's in the ground, or all these other kind of little schemes. They kind of tie into some of the plays that are happening in the mining industry. Be very, very careful of those as well. I would also, just from my own Wall Street background, someone who's was on Wall Street for 30 years, be careful of these stocks that are priced under $1. Yeah, you can get super lucky and hit one, but the odds of that are exceedingly low. There's a reason they're priced at that price. There's a reason they're being promoted on channels instead of through the normal means of investment, where you do a conference call with the analysts and things like that. These are often never covered or carried or reviewed by analysts, CFAs, people like that. It basically is a penny stock that's going to stay a penny stock. As soon as it goes up, guess who the first people are that liquidate it? The ones that sold it to you. So what do you end up with? Nothing. That, to me, is effectively a scam. All right, so let's talk now, go full circle, like what can I really do to protect myself? If you feel pressure, if somebody's coming at you hard to do something and you have to do it now, like this second, run. That's a bad indication. Your dealer should be somebody who has your interest at heart. They're willing to be with you for the long term. And that's the way you should look at them. Somebody who you can partner with to help you to develop this kind of financial future that you want in your life. Ignore all these solicited calls, these commercials you see on the TV shows, the Foxes with the actors and all these kind of things. I can just tell you, running this business, financing this business, that money is not there. I'm just telling you, the only way you can pay for that guy means that they're charging some extraordinary markup on the product and you're not getting effectively what you're paid for. So don't do it. Stay away. Be skeptical of guarantees. In the stock market, if you go to a customer and you say, hey, buy this, it's a guaranteed X return, that's the kind of thing you get sued for. In fact, FINRA will actually go after you. If they see an ad like that, they'll shut it down and they'll go after the firm for doing it. In the gold market, in the silver market, people can say all kinds of crazy things that, just aren't legitimate. They're wrong. They're fake. And you see that every day. How many times do you see a YouTube little blurb, where you're picking a particular video to watch and it says gold to 15,000 tomorrow at 8 o'clock or silver to X or, the whole world's revaluing tomorrow at 9 a.m. That's bogus. You know that. Don't respond to those things. Don't even watch those videos. Don't encourage it. Let's build our community the right way and educate ourselves with the kind of things that make a difference in our actual lives. Do your research. Compare prices. Compare dealers. See how quickly they ship. See how quickly they do the things that you expect out of a quality dealer. That's the thing that really drives the business. It's that very quick turnover, delivering to the customer the value they expect. They come back, and that's how you build a business. I can promise you at Summit Metals, that's exactly what's happening. Now, if you are going to pay for something, you should, of course, expect the standard things. You should get a receipt. You should see everything as it was paid for, listing all the costs. There should be no surprises. Everything should be done the right way. All right, so here's the deal. Stay safe and stack smart. Knowledge is your defense against these precious metal scams. Do the right thing. Do it for you. Do it for your family. And let's inform the community so we're all protected and we can grow together. This is such a fun industry. Where can you hold a financial asset in your hands and actually enjoy it and at the same time be protecting yourself for your future? So thank you so much for tuning in. We're so excited to have you as part of our family. Please like and subscribe. I'd love, again, in the comments, we read all of them. Tell us some of the experiences you've had, in particular with these guys on TV and all these other things, because we can all learn from your experience. So thank you so much. Happy stacking, and let's stay engaged.